The sun beamed down on the pristine backyard, its shimmering rays dancing across the surface of the crystal-clear pool. A light breeze rustled the palm trees, adding to the serene atmosphere of what seemed like a perfect summer afternoon. Chioma Okafor, a 27-year-old stay-at-home mother, adjusted her phone on the poolside lounge chair, angling it just right. The timer blinked red as she stepped back, striking a confident pose. She took a deep breath, brushing her blonde curls behind her ear, and flashed a dazzling smile. Today's viral TikTok dance was tricky, but she had been practicing all morning. In the background, her 2-year-old son, Tund, waddled along the pool's edge, giggling as he chased his inflatable turtle. His chubby fingers reached for it as the toy floated just beyond his grasp. Emily, lost in her world of online validation, didn't notice. The music started. A catchy, upbeat tune filled the air as Emily began to move. With each calculated step, she immersed herself deeper into her performance. She was no longer a mother at home, she was an influencer, a rising star among thousands of TikTok dancers, hoping to gain traction in the competitive world of social media. 5 seconds into her dance, Noah's giggles turned into tiny gasps. His fingers slipped, his balance wavered, and suddenly, splash. The sound was barely noticeable beneath the pounding bass of Emily's music. She twirled, flipped her hair, and hit every move with precision. Comments and likes were all she thought about. Meanwhile, behind her, Noah's tiny body struggled in the water, his arms flailing as he tried to keep his head above the surface. Emily had always dreamed of social media fame. Ever since she had joined TikTok a year ago, she had become obsessed with trends, dance challenges, and engagement numbers. She followed influencers religiously, analyzing their content, hoping to break into the viral space herself. She had even set daily alarms for content creation. Mornings were spent watching tutorial videos, practicing choreography, and experimenting with different angles and lighting. Noah, too young to understand, often sat beside her, watching cartoons on a tablet while she perfected her moves. Her husband, Emeka, had expressed concern. "You spend more time making videos than paying attention to Noah," he had said one night. "He needs you, Em." Emily had brushed him off. "I'm doing this for us, Jake. For our future. If I make it big, we'll have brand deals, sponsorships, everything we've ever wanted." But in reality, she was chasing an illusion, an endless loop of validation that never truly satisfied her. And now, as she twirled by the pool, her son was slipping away, moment by moment. Noah's little hands flailed as he sank, his tiny legs kicking beneath the water's surface. His lungs burned as he instinctively tried to cry out, but only bubbles escaped. His inflatable turtle drifted further away, forgotten. Emily continued dancing, adjusting her expression to match the upbeat rhythm. Her phone's camera captured her every move, oblivious to the silent struggle unfolding behind her. Seconds passed. Noah's movement slowed. His tiny body began to sink. The sunlight refracted through the water, casting shimmering patterns around him. His world blurred, his senses dulled. And then, a scream. It wasn't Emily's. It was her neighbor, Mama Ngozi, a retired nurse who had been watching from her kitchen window. She had seen it all, the dancing mother, the struggling child, the horror of negligence. Emily snapped out of her trance, turning around in confusion. Her eyes widened in terror as she spotted Noah beneath the water, motionless. Her heart stopped. Everything happened in a blur. Emily lunged toward the pool, throwing herself into the water. Panic surged through her veins as she reached for Noah, pulling his limp body to the surface. She lifted him onto the pool deck, her hands trembling. "Noah! Noah, wake up," she sobbed, shaking him gently. His lips were blue, his chest eerily still. Mrs. Carter rushed over, phone in hand. "I've called 911, she shouted. Then, dropping to her knees, she pushed Emily aside. "I'm trained, let me help." With practiced movements, she began CPR. Emily watched in horror, her body frozen as the seconds dragged on. Every press to Noah's chest felt like an eternity. Finally, a cough. A tiny, sputtering cough followed by a weak cry. Water trickled from Noah's mouth as he gasped for air. Emily collapsed beside him, sobbing uncontrollably. The paramedics arrived moments later. They checked Noah's vitals and confirmed that he would be okay, though he needed to be monitored at the hospital. Emily rode in the ambulance, clutching Noah's tiny hand. Shame, guilt, and overwhelming regret weighed heavily on her chest. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. A notification from TikTok, her video had gone viral. Thousands of views, comments pouring in. But none of it mattered anymore. She turned off her phone. When Jake arrived at the hospital, his face was a mixture of relief and disappointment. He held Noah tightly, then looked at Emily. "You could have lost him," he whispered. Tears streamed down her face. "I know," she said, her voice cracking. "I was so blind." In the weeks that followed, Emily deleted her TikTok account. She refocused her priorities, spending real, quality time with Noah. She attended parenting classes and even started volunteering to spread awareness about social media addiction. She learned the hard way that moments with loved ones are far more valuable than fleeting internet fame. And as she tucked Noah into bed each night, she promised herself never again. The screen would never take priority over her son's life again. If you or someone you know is consumed by social media to the point of neglecting real-life responsibilities, take this as a wake-up call. Life isn't about likes, views, or trends, it's about the people who matter most. Don't let digital distractions steal what truly counts.